All right, friends, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you guys so much for taking some time out of your very busy schedules to come and hang out with me for just a little bit. I'll try to keep this short and sweet, as I know several of you guys have things right after this. So I'm going to go through just some information that we think that our office thinks that you guys need to know as presidents of your organizations. Also, please use the chat if you have questions about things that I'm talking about. Also, if you guys have events that are coming up this semester that you want to advertise to the other presidents, go ahead and put those in there. What I will do with that is I will make sure I announce those at the end of the meeting, as well as when I send out the recording to everybody, I'll make sure I include those as well, just so that everybody's on the same page. So absolutely, please feel free to do that. For those of you that haven't had a chance to meet yet, my name is Rachel Stevens, and I'm serving as the Interim Director of Student Life. On the chat with us as well, and I'm not going to make him unmute, is John Abel. He is our Assistant Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs. If you have ever had the opportunity to meet him, you know he is fantastic and absolutely loves working with students. Other people in our office, and I don't think Anthony's had a chance to jump in. Anthony is he's my co-interim director, and he works in the multicultural affairs side of our office. And then we have Ben Ort, who is actually doing IFC recruitment right now. And then Miss Lindy McCurley, a lot of you guys have had the opportunity to get to know her through Runway and through booking events in the University Center. But we're going to go ahead and get started with our formal presentation. Cool. We're just going to talk because I'd have to restart my computer. So I will also send this out just so that you guys have this to access. So I mentioned Anthony Pruitt a minute ago, just so you guys know. Anthony deals with the following things in our office. So if you have questions about any of the following items, Anthony Pruitt's your guy to go to. He is one of the main people who works with the Civil Rights Conference, which you guys don't know, we are one of only 2 universities in the country who have a civil rights conference, and we're about to have that February 21st through the 25th. And he's going to be sending out lots of information. It's a great way to just engage, expand your horizons, and learn about some really cool stuff. He has some really great speakers lined up. Anthony and John advise our flight crew. And if you have not yet gotten something free from flight crew or gone to one of our flight crew events, you're missing out. It is wonderful. Anthony also does our multicultural programming. He works specifically with our multicultural registered student organizations. He is our MPHC fraternity and sorority advisor. He works with the Tennessee Promise and all service initiatives that come out of our office. Then we have Ben Ort, who's our assistant director for student life. He oversees our club sports along with campus recreation, honor societies, professional organizations, religious organizations, service orgs, and our special interest groups. He is also our IFC fraternity advisor, and he is the one who manages our new student organization process out of our office. And then there's me. I primarily advise our academic organizations. So if you're an academic org, I'm your go-to. I also am the Panhellenic, the CPC sorority advisor. I do a lot of the fraternity and sorority life events, Gold Star events, the hub. I am also your point of contact for Runway, RSO awards, Who's Who, and the travel fund that happens every fall. So if you have any of those specific questions, I'm the one to go to for that. So Runway, I think most of you guys obviously know how to use Runway, or you would not have gotten a link for the meeting tonight. So great job on that. Make sure you guys know how to use Runway. Make sure that you have your roster updated, where you can have, make sure your officers are listed correctly, because that way I know that the information is getting out to the presidents, to the advisors. If you have questions about that or want to update your roster, schedule a meeting with me or come to our office. We have several different student workers who are here all the time that can help out, as well as any of our professional staff members. We do have some specific Runway trainings coming up. We have 3 different topics specifically that we're going to cover. The first would be just a general Runway training. So if you are new to Runway or have questions or concerns, or just want to know more about it, that's going to be on Monday, February the 4th at 3 o'clock. And that's just a general, what is Runway? How do I use it? Especially if you have some younger members that are looking to be officers, definitely make sure that they're coming to that. We also have an entering service training that will be on March the 2nd at 4 p.m. So one of the awards that we give out that we'll talk about here in a few minutes is about how many hours of service your organization has done. The way that we know how much service you've done is putting it in Runway and is keeping track of it that way. So if you're not sure how to do that, or even just want some time to work on it where there's somebody there to help you and answer questions, we're going to be doing that March the 2nd at 4 p.m. And then finally, a lot of you guys will be getting ready to transition out of your positions because your term runs through April. And so we're going to be doing a successful elections and officer transition training. We're going to do 2 of those. One is March the 14th at 3 p.m. And the second is March the 15th at 5:30 p.m. And again, I will email all these out as well with the links to RSVP on Runway. All of these events are going to be held in UC 111, which is the legislative chambers. We'll give you more information once you sign up, but bring your laptop. They're going to be interactive, give you a chance to actually jump in and walk through the different things that we want you to do. Also, I realize that a lot of those are during the day. We're trying to do something a little bit different. We know, especially at night, your schedules get very, very busy with club meetings and other things. So trying some daytime afternoon activity sessions to see if any of that works. If none of those work for you, or maybe you want somebody to come to one of your officer meetings or one of your or an individual time, we are available to do on-demand training. So just reach out and say, hey, my club wants some training on this, or hey, I want to sit down and talk about this, and we will schedule those one-on-one. We love Runway. We love to use it. We think it's an amazing tool for you as student leaders. So let us know how we can help make sure you guys are using it to its full capacity. Some other important events coming up. We know a lot of you guys, service is a huge part of what you do. So we have the blood drive coming up February the 8th and the 9th, and that's through Lifeline Blood Services. And then we have 6 more service Saturdays throughout the semester. Those are every other Saturday pretty much for the rest of the semester. February the 9th, the 19th, March the 5th and the 19th, and then April the 2nd and the 16th. So you can also go into Runway and type service Saturday under the events, and those events will pop up. Anthony also sends out an email every single month with a list of different service opportunities, as well as what's going to be going on for service Saturday. So please make sure you're checking those out. Some important dates that we want to make sure you know about from our office, just kind of generally. I mentioned the Civil Rights Conference. That is specifically February the 21st through the 25th. So like I said, lots of really great events. Those will be showing up in Runway. We're also doing some Civil Rights Conference events throughout the month. Like that's the main week is the 21st to the 25th. But I know we have some great speakers. I think we have a spoken word poet coming that'll kind of be sprinkled throughout the month. Preview Day. This is a gold star event for those of you who are going to want to apply for travel funds next year. That's April the 2nd. That is a Saturday. So that's coming up in just a few months. Registration for that will probably go out in the next week or two. Registered Student Organization Awards applications are due on April the 6th. And then our annual awards ceremony will be held April the 24th at 2 p.m. And that's the last Sunday of the semester. So I did mention awards. Let's talk about that just briefly. Oh, that's a brilliant idea, John. Let me do that. John said he can probably share my slides. So let me pause just for a second and take care of that.
Rachel?
Yes.
Yes. Can I jump in for just a second?
Yes, absolutely.
There's another opportunity maybe for organizations on campus. The Experiential Learning Leadership Institute Conference is being hosted by UTM this year in April. And if any of the organizations would like to present at this conference, I'm sure that we could, accommodate presentations, and that might be a really useful thing for you all to talk about.
That's awesome, Dr. Glass. If you'll send me a little more information about that, I can make sure it gets sent out to all the students.
Yeah, I certainly will. This is going to be a thing. I mean, you all can just make a note, but this is going to be an annual conference that UT Martin hosts. It's part of a nationally accredited experiential learning organization. So it has the obvious sort of useful resume line for you all. But it's also a way for members of your organizations to speak formally about the kinds of impacts that you have on campus and in the community and region. Yep.
Absolutely. And for those of you who don't know what experiential learning is, it's what you guys are doing in these leadership positions, especially in our academic and professional organizations. It's literally learning by experience. So you're doing this every single day. So that's a really amazing opportunity to present at a conference and also just get kind of that opportunity through there. So thank you so much for that, Dr. Glass.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, think of all the ways that the organizations that you represent take what you do in classrooms and apply it in well, what's loosely called the real world. Very loosely. Thanks, Rachel.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, John. So again, those are those service dates that we talked about.
Sorry, I was trying to catch up to where you were, and I lost my mute button. I think I finally found it.
No, you're perfect. So yeah, so those are the service dates. And if you'll go ahead and flip to the next slide for me, John. All right, so here's those important dates. The Civil Rights Conference, February the 21st to the 25th. Preview Day, April the 2nd. That's the first Saturday of the month. Those awards are going to be due on April the 6th. And then again, our award ceremony is that the 24th. And then again, the experiential learning conference that Dr. Glass was talking about. So let's talk briefly about the awards that are available to you guys to apply for. So there are 5 main awards that we give out through the award ceremony. The first is the Student Leader of the Year Award. So what that award recognizes is somebody in your organization or maybe another organization who really represents everything that it means to be a student leader here at UT Martin, that's made a significant impact to their organization and on the campus community. Past winners have been people who have, spearheaded a student organization or have brought a student organization back from being defunct, or have just been that one person that the whole organization's really, really leaned on. Sometimes it's the president and sometimes it's somebody else. So anybody can nominate a student leader. You don't have to be in that same organization. You don't have to be the president. Doesn't have to be the advisor. If you know somebody that you think deserves to be nominated for that, please do that. Same thing for the Advisor of the Year. You guys know, and I know that our advisors, we could not do what we do without the advisors who serve our organizations. This is your chance to honor them. And one of the great things about what we do through these awards is it's not just one winner, but we also choose finalists. So at least 3 people in each of these categories or organizations gets highlighted. And so that's really cool, just to be able to see what everybody's doing and the cool things that we're doing. And ultimately, your advisors don't get paid to do the work that they do with you. They're doing it because they care about that interest area or that academic area, and they want to help see you succeed. So I'd love to see a ton of Advisor of the Year awards nominations come in. Then we have our Community Service Award, which as listed down at the bottom, we have both gold and silver level service. So we want to recognize student orgs that have done 200 plus hours of service and 500 plus hours of service in the academic year. And this runs April 1 through April 1. And the way you do that is through putting them in through Runway, which that's why we're going to have that training if you need it in the beginning of March. Instructions on how to enter that too are also in the emails that Anthony sends out. Then we have the Event of the Year. Has your organization done an event this year that you just think is super cool or super innovative or just very successful and it's something you love? Submit it. We'd love to see it. It's a great way too to brag on yourself and to brag on the things that your organization's doing. Again, we do the 3 finalists and 1 winner. And then again, Organization of the Year. What you do and what your organization has accomplished, especially this has been a rough year for all of us. So brag on yourself. And that's the opportunity to talk about that. It asks questions about how does your organization or the event, how does it fulfill the purpose? How did it benefit the community? And also, why do you think that you deserve to win? And there's a awards committee that sits down and reads through all of those. So I'll be sending those out over the next week or so with some more information about each one of them, but just want to make sure you knew what those were. All right. So obviously, as I mentioned, it's not been an easy year for any of us. I guess the last almost 2 years at this point. So I just want to go back briefly over the COVID programming and event guidelines. If you were a president last semester, you will see that these have not changed from what we ask you to do in the fall. You guys have done a great job about that. We want to make sure we're continuing. So essentially, your events, even if they're virtual, need to be put in runway, even if they're not being held on campus, because we have to review them. I do want to make sure that I make this very clear. We are not approving the event in the sense of saying 100% this is awesome, great, thumbs up. We're making sure that it's following basic guidelines, and also, do you have something in there about COVID guidelines? Because we want to make sure that we're being as healthy and safe as possible while still doing programming. So make sure things are being put in the runway system. They get reviewed by your president, your advisor, and then there's several people in our office who review all of it. Additionally, attendance must be tracked at all of your events. So this is so that if, heaven forbid, if somebody were to end up testing positive after being in attendance at your event, we can know who was exposed and kind of help try to reduce the spread of the disease. And also, this is good for you too, because if you're an organization that's partially funded by your academic group, or you're looking for funding, or you want to know what were successful programs in the past, if you take attendance, that's something you can look back and you can say, hey, our tie-dye event had 40 people show up and our Kahoot night only had 10. So maybe we don't need to do another Kahoot night. So that's just a simple extra thing of just making life a little bit easier for you. Next slide, please. All right, so we also ask that organizations continue to promote social distancing. We do ask for 6 feet apart, if at all possible. At this point, wearing of masks is highly, highly encouraged. That's the email that Dr. Carver also sent out. Because if you're wearing a mask, you're less likely to spread it or get the disease. So also think about what kind of event you're having. Look at the space. If you're trying to invite 60 people to a room that only holds 20, let's rethink that. Let's rethink about where we're going to do it. Outdoor events are much more recommended over indoor events. Obviously, it's very cold outside right now, so maybe not going outside, but if at all possible, outside's better than inside. As much as possible, have separate entry and exit points. Try to have hand sanitizer, access to washing hands. And then also, I would really encourage you to provide a virtual option to accommodate students that don't want to gather in groups. There might be a million reasons that somebody doesn't want to come to your event or can't attend your event. Like one of the reasons we're doing this virtually tonight is that you guys are from all over campus, and I know you guys are very busy. So instead of having all of us crammed into a room, we decided to go virtual for this particular event. And I know like a lot of our a lot of our guest speakers and things like that we'll be doing. Anthony's also going to be providing virtual options so that people have several different options. So just some things about our programming guidelines as we continue through the rest of the semester. And then, so this is the event pass. This is what we highly encourage you to use to check your guests in at different events, as well as if you've come to any of our events, you know that you have to have your event pass. You can find it either by downloading Cork, C-O-R-Q, and downloading it from there, or you can also get it out of your runway in your browser. If you need help with this, come by and see us at any time, and we'll get that taken care of you. Here's the cool thing about this. A lot of people think it's attached to a certain event. It's not. It's tied to you as a person. So once you have that, save it to your Apple Wallet, to your Google Pay, and then when somebody says, hey, do you have your event pass? You're not having to log back into an app or search through a bunch of photos. It's just right there in your wallet and easy access. So I highly encourage you to also have your organization members go ahead and download theirs if they haven't yet. Just a reminder about the Hub weekly update that comes out every single week. It's sent out every Monday morning before 12. It lists all the different events going on campus. We do try to target like large events that are open to the public. You know, if it's just a small club meeting or a small organizational event, we probably won't put it on there unless you specifically ask us to. We do work on that ahead of time. So the earlier you can get your events put in, not only does it allow us to vet your COVID plan, but it also allows us to make sure that those are in there. Here's another side note too. If it is an event that you are wanting the public to attend, highly encourage you to look at what those permissions look like and make sure that it's something. Use the categories, use the themes, use the perk section so that students have lots of different ways to find your events. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then come join me for that runway training on February the 7th, and we'll talk a lot more. talk a lot more about that. Yeah, so that's the Hub Weekly update. Also, just some good social media to follow. Here's some things that usually have what's going on campus. Also, we try to, especially, so the Hub UTM, that is our office, we try to make sure we're following as many different student organizations as we can. And as we see them, tag us and stuff, and we'll make sure that we're resharing to kind of help get the information out and make sure that everything that you're getting out to various different audiences. Another note of something that I didn't put in here, but want to make sure you guys know about, is that as a registered student organization, you have access to a lot of really cool things, including the fact that we have a graphic designer on staff here in Student Affairs. And as a registered student org, one of your perks is that you get access to it. So if you need help designing a logo or designing a flyer, or you want to have a t-shirt, but you're just not sure how to design it, there's a media services request form on Runway. And you can just type that in the forms, it'll pop up. You fill that out, and Tony, who is an amazing graphic artist, will get with you. You also, as a student organization, are eligible for one free vertical banner every 2 years. So if you've been looking around at different events like the org fair, or even in our office, and where are people getting these banners, that's who they're getting them through. And because of the fact that things have been a little more low key over the last couple of years, most of our student orgs haven't taken advantage of that. So if you haven't, please make sure that you take advantage of that. It's a great way to promote yourself. And again, if you're not the artsy person, if you don't know what to do, Tony is great at coming up with ideas and working with you to help make your vision come true. Another side note with that is that the university is pretty strict about its use of logos and about how we use those. So that is why working with Tony is so great, because he knows how to make that work and he knows how to get creative with it. So if you work with Tony, then you know that your design is going to be approved and that you'll be good to go. So that's the main thing that I have. Do you guys have any specific questions or things that you want me to answer?
I actually have a question.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. So like, I was wondering like how, because this is my first year as president, and I have been an officer before, but I think I'm having a little bit of trouble like managing or like dictating, because I'm like don't want to come off as like I want to tell people what to do or I want to boss them around. Like, how would I go about doing that in a respectful manner to where I'm making sure that all my officers are doing their job, because like I can't run around and do everything, but I also don't want to be mean to them.
Yeah, and that's a great question. And I think that is an issue that a lot of people face, not just students. I think we've all had to kind of learn that, because delegation is your best friend when you are in a leadership position. And honestly, that starts with what kind of relationship have you built with your other officers? Have you guys had a chance to kind of get to know each other? Do they understand what their jobs are and what your job is? And starting off with expectations of, what expectations do you have of them? What expectations did they have of you? And kind of, I would say, start with that, have that conversation at your next officer meeting, set an agenda, set goals together, and then talk about delegation, and then see, because you may find that some of them are really interested in helping out with some things that maybe you asked me to do, but maybe John would be a better person to do it, and he's going to volunteer to do it. So I would suggest that. And it's Mercedes who's talking to me, right? It's a little hard to tell.
Right. Sorry. Yeah.
No, you're good. I just wanted to make sure I was responding to the right person. And if you want to hit me up, Mercedes, we can sit down and talk some more about the specifics of your situation and some more advice that maybe I can give you on how to exactly navigate that. Because there are definitely those are the kind of the big pieces of advice I would give you. Also, who is your advisor?
Dr. Wilkins and Dr. Blanchard for the Ecology Club.
Okay, awesome. Well, both of those are advisors who have served for a really long time. I would also maybe reach out to them and just kind of ask for them some advice on how they've seen other officers do this in the past, or any feedback that they could give you. Lean on them, but also come see me and we can talk through some of it too.
Okay, yeah, definitely. I'll email you tomorrow, and then we can definitely, or if you have like specific office hours or anything.
Yeah, shoot me an email and I will send you the link to set up a meeting.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Perfect. I look forward to it.
Can
That's
I chime in?
Yes, please
with-
do.
This is going to sound I take this in the right spirit, Mercedes and Rachel. Run meetings like Rachel Stevens. Like seriously, this is a really good meeting for presidents of clubs, and you're getting a tutorial in how to convey information and inspire people to do things.
Okay.
I'm serious. It's textbook,
Hmm.
and I'm not getting paid to say that.
I promise I have not slipped him any cash for
There
that.
is I have received no cash or anything else. I mean, but seriously, but this is really, really good, right? Like, so like you're the president of a club in a meeting with the presidents of clubs, and you're being given information in a way that is inspiring and presented very clearly. That's the way to convey enthusiasm to the people that you work with.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And that's the thing too, like having an agenda always helps too. That's something that I have found for me personally, that I can come off, especially if I have a smaller group meeting, a little more dictatorish if I don't have a set, this is what I need to convey. And so we'll talk through all that when we meet, Mercedes. So
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
yeah, absolutely. All right, I've had a question about changing the roster on Runway. It's actually pretty simple as long as you have the correct permissions. And so once you have the correct permissions in Runway, there's a couple of buttons that you push. You also, if you want to, send our office your updated list, like your current list of who's in your organization, and we can help get that all settled and get that changed over for you, as well as Victoria, I'll reach out to you and set up a separate meeting so that we can sit down and do that together. Also, if anybody else is interested in that, that's something that we'll cover in that February 7th training. So awesome. Well, I think I've kept you right at half an hour, and my goal was to hopefully get done by 6 o'clock. If you guys have any announcements or things that you want to have me share with the rest of the presidents, feel free to email me. I'll put my email in the chat so that you can hit me up, although I feel like you guys probably already know what it is because we communicate quite a bit.
And just so I say it out loud, if anybody's interested in the experiential learning conference, that's a decision that you should take very soon, right? Sooner the better. It's April the 11th through the 13th, the conference. But we would be very glad to have anybody's interest conveyed as soon as possible.
I spelled that wrong, so I apologize. I was trying to type and think at the same time. Mr. Abel, do you have
experiential?
Yeah.
Experiential learning is also very good learning.
Yeah, we're making up words over here. So
I like it. Words have to show up sometime.
Right. All right, Mr. Abel, do you have anything that you would like to share with the group? I think he may have actually just stepped out. So
No, I'm trying to get Zoom to function. I don't know. I'm having Zoom issues as well. So I was trying to maneuver that. But no, I just want to say a great job to Rachel. The only thing I would add is we're constantly looking for better ways to serve you guys. So we're never above your suggestions. I'll just say it that way. But all means, if you have an idea, share it with us. If it's better program ideas, training that you need, better ways to communicate. If you think there are different ways to do it, we are very open to try everything. The way we do things now is because they've evolved that way. Practices we feel that work. So, but as students change and the way you communicate change, the way you interact to change, sometimes us old folks like me don't keep up with that as fast. So if there are better ways to do things, better programs, better ways to communicate, by all means, we're always available to hear those things and have those suggestions to be able to serve you better. So other than that, Rachel, you did a great job. And thank you for all for listening in tonight.
I appreciate each and every one of you. Now go and reclaim the rest of your Thursday night. It's great talking to you all. Have a good evening.